Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Millennial Motive. In this episode, we will be speaking with John Benn. At just 24 years old, John is highly known for his phenomenal growth and career, and as an athletic kicker in the American Football League. John was a game changer playing at San Diego State University, and he even became an NFL undrafted free agent for the Chicago Bears. His career takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and a ton of self-adjustment in order to compete at such a high level, and that is exactly what we'll be getting into today's episode. So without further ado, let's hop into it. What's up, John? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you so much for having me on today.
For sure, dude. Yeah. For sure. It's been some years, right?
It's been a little bit of time, yeah, since football back at Chaparral. But
right.
I'm happy to be back.
Right, yeah. Right. I mean, think about it. How many years has it been, in high school, graduating? It's been what? 10?
Oh, yeah, just
10?
about.
10
yeah, it's been a while, man. Yeah.
It's been a while. So I want to first say, John, I appreciate you, Ben. Appreciate you coming on the show. It means a lot to me that you took the time out of your day to come here, and support what we're doing. And obviously, the way that this whole show works is it's pretty much a platform to help you to tell your story.
Definitely.
Right? So that way, the viewers and the listeners, they can actually see what it takes to get involved in the NFL, and then so on and so forth. Even after, or what it takes to, even think about getting into it.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I want to ask you, man, so what really motivates you? What's your motive?
Yeah, well, first I'm going to say thank you for having me on the show. That's it's a great, blessing to even be here right now back in Temecula. But yeah, man, what motivates me, honestly, is just where I come from. Mm-hmm. My family, the people that have helped me throughout my life, whether it be coaches, whether it be teachers, whether it be extended family, or friends of friends, or even my friends' parents. Sometimes it's just, you never know where you're going to get that help from and where you're going to get that inspiration from. And for me, I found it in a lot of different places, and I was lucky enough to have that support and that foundation there. But I always looked at my life as not where I am, but where I want to be. And that's really when you wake up in the morning and you have that chip on your shoulder and you have something to work towards or work for. That passion.
Right. The drive.
Yeah, the drive. That's what gets me. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what makes me want to do big things.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, whether it may be how they were raised or different circumstances, situations that they went through in their life, different things that come up. The biggest thing there is you need to find what motivates you and what drives you.
Exactly.
And if you don't have that, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to get where you want to be. You're not going to have what you want in life and get out of life what you want, because that's what you need to be. Every successful person has that why, or that reasoning why they're doing what they do. Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing. And for me, it's always been my family. It always will be. And
so you'd say your family first and foremost. You would put them at the top. I mean, as far as like what it is, who it is, family.
Family would be first. Yes.
Nice. Yeah. Right on, man. Another thing I was gonna ask you, dude, is when it comes to getting into, establishing a career in football, what was the hardest thing to get past, I guess? Like, did you reach that part where you were like, man, I mean, because I remember back in high school, bro, when you were kicking damn near the whole field, right? I was like, dude, this kid's gonna go somewhere for sure. But I remember you were doing soccer before that, right? And in my mind, I was like, that's what he wanted to do, right? Yeah. But then you transitioned to being, in the football career, you started kicking and stuff. I was like, dude, if he really wants to do this, he's gonna go places. And I didn't really expect you to make that transition. So what is it that...
I didn't either.
Yeah. What was it that made that transition for you, where you were like, okay, soccer, and then, you know what, I'm going to actually do football now? Like, what was that? What was that like?
So a lot of what happened in my life, I thought was planned out. From the time I was, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, I had this dream, this goal, this passion to play soccer. I wanted to be a professional athlete at the time, and to me that was a professional soccer player. And I didn't pick up another sport. I didn't play anything else. I didn't want to. There was only one focus in my life, and that was soccer. Every weekend I was playing soccer tournaments. Every day of the week I was on the field. I didn't hang out with friends. You can ask anyone that I went to elementary school with or middle school with, like all my time, energy, but the relationships I built through my soccer career, I still have those friends today.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that, I in that sense where I took it for granted. Like I still appreciate that foundation that I had laid
that
for
you
me.
built.
Yeah, from the very beginning.
Because you bled it pretty much.
Of course, man. Yeah, I did a lot more than bleed it, man. It was my life, man.
Yeah.
But I loved it so much, and it was a job. It was work, and my parents couldn't afford it, all this different stuff, but we did it. And we made it happen because that was my goal and that was my dream. But anyways, I got to high school. I meet new people, all this different stuff, and I met Coach Mitchell, and
Yeah, I remember Coach Mitchell.
and Cole Perkins, and he was my algebra teacher. And basically, one day he was like, "Why don't you kick footballs?" He was like, "You're always gone on soccer tournaments. You're always playing soccer. Like, you got to be pretty good at it. Like, why don't you come down and try and kick a football a couple times?" So I eventually I took him up on the offer, and during PE or whatever, I went out there and I kicked a couple footballs with Cole. And Cole told Coach Mitchell, like, "Hey, he's pretty good." Coach Mitchell told Coach Tukwa. Fast forward 6 months later, like, Coach Tukwa was pulling me out of class. "I want you to come down to practice today. See what you got. I heard you're pretty good." And I was like, at that time I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm getting into.
Right.
I go down to the field.
You're just moping along. You're like, all right.
Yeah. I remember
I don't have to be in class. Cool.
I remember getting pulled out by like Coach Tukwa, and I was like, I thought I was in trouble. I had never met the guy. He introduces himself. I was like, what's going on? Like, he just told me everything. And then he said, yeah, Cole will give you some cleats. And I didn't know this at the time, but there's a very big difference between soccer cleats and football cleats, especially not just in size, but
right.
Yeah,
the way that they're built.
Yeah, they're just a lot bigger, bulkier. And I remember I went out to Cole's car because he was like, "Yeah, he's got some workout clothes for you that you can wear down there." I didn't have anything. So, anyways, yeah, we get to Cole's car. He has his cleats. He has his workout stuff. It's all still sweaty from like the day before, so I'm not gonna put that on.
Right.
And his cleats are still sweaty from their like morning workout that day. And I was just like, and they weren't gonna fit me, and I was just, dude, I'm not gonna use this. Like, this is not gonna be what I'm gonna be able to perform at on the field. So I went down there in my jeans and my t-shirt, and nothing. Really? Yeah, man. I think Coach Mitchell may have given me like a pair of shorts or something, because he was like, no, like, don't go down there like that. But basically I was like, I think I wore Cole's cleats just because I wasn't going to kick in Vans or whatever I was wearing to school. And I went down there, and Coach Tukwa hands me a football, and he's like, punt this. He's like, this is how you do it. I've never punted a football before. If you've ever punted a football before, you'll understand it's one of the hardest things to learn. Yeah? You're hitting a moving object in stride. It's a lot of coordination. It takes a lot of practice to be able to hit a really good punt. And so that was really the worst thing that I could have done my first time out there. It was just a total confidence killer. I hit one ball, and Tukwa looked at me, and he just was like, go over there. Like, go over there with the rest of the kickers. They were all kicking off and stuff. So I go over there, and they're like telling me how to kick off, and they're like, it's like a free kick in soccer. You can take as many steps as you want. You can like just try and kick it as far as you want. And I like looked at them, and I was like, if I kick it as hard as I can, like, it's gonna hit the bushes. And they were like, we'll do it. You know what I mean? They were like, then kick it into the bushes. I was like, all right. And I did it. And then like after that, Coach Tukwa ran over. Yeah, I was like, what? Rest is history, man. I got into it. I started that football career like that, and I came home. I told my mom, I'm like, I'm playing football Friday. Like, I'm on the on the team. Yeah, I'm on the varsity football team. My parents were like, no, you're not. What? My dad was like, no, you're not. Yeah, I was like, I just need this signature. I need to go to the doctor. I was like, and then I can play. To get your physical, Anyways, Coach Tukwa like worked all of that out with my parents, and they finally were like, okay, just as long as he doesn't get hurt, like, he's a soccer player, like, he needs to play soccer. And anyways, a lot of people through my life just told me, especially like through football and everyone's parents, coaches, they were like, you can go to college for this. So at some point in my career, I realized, soccer, I wasn't as good at soccer as I had hoped I was, but I was really good at something that I was just picking up.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see how good I really was, so I went and I got ranked. I went to like national competitions. I got like ranked 10th in the country. For some kid who didn't know what he was doing, that was pretty good. And Coach Tuchel helped me out a lot.
You're more than pretty good, bro.
Yeah, it turns out, man.
Yeah, exactly. But isn't it interesting how like life can take a turn, right? Where you think that and you zone in on just one thing and you're like, okay, I'm really good at, I don't know, throwing a football, right? But, or like, for example, you can pick one position in life, right? And you pick that position because you know in your mind that's what you're good at. Yeah. But someone else can see something completely different and say, I want you to just try it. Yep. Try a different position. Try playing corner, or try playing wide receiver. Or try going on O-line. You never know.
Versatility.
And having that exactly. Having that versatility in life too, right?
Oh yeah.
You can sit and say, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur. But you may find out that entrepreneurship really isn't, it for you.
Exactly.
Or you can say, I just want to go and work a 9 to 5. I'm set. Climb up the corporate ladder. But you can say, if you do that, you can focus in on it, right? And you'll achieve what you want to achieve because eventually the hard work will pay off.
Oh yeah.
But if someone that loves and cares for you says, hey man, I actually see something in a different path for you that I want you to try, because I can either see your formality, I can see, hey, you have all these different talents that you don't see, and I want to show them to you.
Oh yeah.
And so you transition from soccer to kicking and being a football player because you were shown that from other people.
Yeah, I didn't even see it in myself. Yeah. And that was the biggest thing for me, was then I started realizing, like, oh wow, like I'm actually pretty good at this, because I would compete against guys in Temecula. I would compete against guys in, all of Southern California. I would go to these different camps, go to Vegas, and I would see kind of how I ranked up. And I had never really met a kid up until that point where I was like, they're better than me. You know what I mean? And that might have been a mindset thing, but in my head it was, they may have hit the ball better that time, but the next time I'm going to beat them. Yeah. It was just like, that was my mentality. That was my vision in that. And it was something that I felt that I was so good at. And I remember when I got ranked 10th in the country, I got invited to this big camp out in the Midwest. And like all the best kickers in the country were there. And I remember I went out there and I just thought it was going to be, the man, like I was going to go out there because that's what I had seen. Like my experience was like, I was the man, and no one could really kick like me. And then I went out there and I saw
that it was an actual competition.
I saw there was levels. Like the level that I was at, there was so much more to learn, because at that point I wasn't learning anymore. I got complacent. I was like, oh, this is my level. This is how good. This is as good as I'll ever be. Then I realized how technical it is. How, like, the guys who are the best in the world, the NFLs, how they're so technical with what they do that it is the same process, the same swing, the same steps every single time.
Really, that's one of the things that I was gonna ask too. I mean, people look at the NFL, right? Yeah. And yeah, you had your chance, right? Yeah. But people look at that, and most people, I feel like they devalue the kickers. Is that true? I mean, like, in other words, in what sense is like, okay.
I mean, the kickers are devalued from. I tell people I didn't play football, I kicked football.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like, no one really gives you guys enough credit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, a kick is literally what's going to, like, multiple times before, and I know you've had your fair share of this too, the game is tied, and the kick is what's going to determine whether the game is won or lost. Yeah. Right? And then there's all that pressure, but no one thinks about the kicker at all until those moments. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't think about all the hard work and practice that you guys actually have to do. Like how you're saying, all the technique, right? It's not just take a football, kick it. Yeah. I think that's what people have misconstrued. It's actually just as much work as any other position in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go as far to say that just because of just the effort, but definitely the practice side of
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's very serious. It's very, you get out what you put into it, because I remember I would go into like weeks where I knew the game was going to be close. It could come down to a game winner. That whole week in practice, my mindset was I was kicking that game winner. Like I would set aside time during practice. I would set aside like different things where I was focusing on that moment. And when it came in the game, like I had already been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, there's different things where you understand that like the practice side goes into it, but you don't see that.
Right.
And I like that about kicking though. I liked being, I guess, in the shadows and being able to work on my own craft on my own time, like with my own vision and my own, not having, I mean, I had a coach, I had different people in my group, but it was something that I could do. It's like golfing. It's something that you can take out of everything and just focus on solely by yourself. And when you get to that level where like the NFL guys are and stuff, it's really good to work with professional coaches and people like that, but how you get to that professional level is knowing exactly, like you don't need someone to tell you what you did wrong. As soon as you miss that kick, or as soon as you mess up,
yourself.
You know for yourself, and you know you're a self-adjuster.
Right.
And when I was with the Broncos, that was Coach McMahon. That was the biggest thing he always told us. He was like, I don't care if you mess up. I don't care if you did this wrong or did that wrong. Like, you're human. But what I do care about is if you do mess up, can you fix yourself?
Yeah.
Can you be a self-adjuster? And that's what they're looking for. And that's the biggest thing that I think I learned and that I had that a lot of people I met didn't have. They weren't able to look at their own style and look at their own kick and be able to fix it. They were always looking for other people to help them and like, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to fix? Like, and it's, I've told you like 4 times already today, man. Like, fix this, work on this, like focus on that. But it comes down to they're not practicing the way they should be.
Right.
They just go out.
So you would say that's something you would say if somebody listening to this and somebody viewing this, that's thinking about doing this career path. You would tell them that's what you would tell them. You say, hey, look, understand that you have to learn how to be a self-adjuster for yourself.
Definitely.
Your coaches or people that are training you on how to do certain things in a certain technique. They can do that, but it's up to you to make those adjustments for yourself and to know where you messed up.
It happened with my little brother. I mean, he's going to Sacramento State here coming up in July. He'll be taking off to go up there and compete for a job. But I remember I was going out with my little brother. I'm not throwing him under the bus or anything like that. But no, man, I would go out and I would work with him. And I would pour into, he's my little brother.
Right.
So I would pour into him everything that I knew about the sport, about everything. And then 3 months later, we would go out again. Nothing would change.
was progressed.
And he'd be frustrated. He'd be, why am I not making why am I not getting better?
Right.
And I had to have a really serious conversation. That happened a couple times where it's frustrating
you had to have
for
a
me.
heart-to-heart,
It's very frustrating for me. Sorry, I hit the...
No worries, dude. No.
But,
no worries at all.
No, it's really frustrating for me when, you have someone who... They have potential, or they can get somewhere.
So much potential, but
they think that it's just gonna fall into their lap,
right.
or they think that it's just gonna come to them, that they don't have to work for it. Everything takes work. Even if you're the best at something, there's someone behind you waiting to take.
Or there's always that other step on the ladder.
Exactly.
There's always somebody that you're going to be competing with, whether that's a physical person or even if it's yourself.
Yeah.
You can't. I forgot which episode it was in the past, but someone in a previous episode said that you can't stay stagnant.
No.
Once you reach a level that you wanted to reach, you have to keep persevering and moving forward to figure out what that next level is going to be.
Complacency is the most dangerous thing.
Wow.
And once you get complacent, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're not moving forward.
Right.
If anything, you're moving backwards.
Right. Because you got other people trying to get to where you're at, and they're gonna.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I like kicking. There was always pressure. There was always an opportunity to be better. And it's a. I'm a big numbers guy. Like when I first went to SDSU, I was studying to be a mechanical engineer. So I love numbers. Now I'm in finance. It's numbers has always been my thing, and kicking comes down to numbers.
Yeah.
It's either you have a high percentage or you don't. And no one cares about the factors, the what ifs, like the wind, the holder dropped the ball. It's like you either made it or you didn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, I loved that part of it. But it also it gave me something to work for. It was like, I have to hit these numbers. I have to hit this percentage. I have to be able, whatever kickoffs I hit, this amount has to be in the right location with the right hang time and the right distance. It was very analytical. Yeah. And it was a
That's
process.
Interesting to know, man.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know. George?
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about this because, like, growing up, I wouldn't say I was exactly the athletic type. There were the people who would stay indoors and work on the computers and tech and stuff, and clearly that's me. And
you're very good at it. Right?
And then there were the people outside who were playing football, playing soccer, playing all this stuff. And the older I got, the more I realized how similar they were, especially with mindset and especially with the amount of work and the amount of dedication for both is pretty much the same. I wanted to ask you this question, I guess, is how much of kicking is a mental game as far as when compared to, physical? Because you said it's all numbers. Just like how much of it is a mental game when you're about to kick?
That's a good question. Yeah.
That's a great question, and you're not the first to ask it. And my answer is always, when I get asked that question, is it's all mental. But
100% of it?
I would say 100. I mean, obviously, you have to be able to kick a ball.
Yeah.
You have to be athletic enough to have the motion and the fluidity to be able to make contact with the ball and have the technique there.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me, the technique, all that stuff only gets you so far. I know a lot of guys right now that should be playing in the NFL, but in between the ears is the reason they're not. And it's that was something I always prided myself with, or had pride about myself with, was the whole mental aspect. I was always, my coaches always commended me for it, but I was always, no matter what happened, if I missed the game winner the week before, if I missed the kick, I was so hungry and so driven, and so that I had a quick memory. That was the best thing that I could have done for myself. Was forget about that. And of course, you have to feel the low. You have to look at it, but you have to look at it as a learning experience. That was the biggest thing for me. If I fail, and I just look at it as a failure. Right. Then
so that way you can succeed.
That's how you get down on yourself. That's how you dig yourself into a deeper hole. But if I fail and I look at it as something that I can learn from, why did I fail? How did I fail? What could I have done to do that better or make that experience a positive one?
Right. It's gonna propel you for when it happens again, or like when you have that moment again to succeed in it.
Exactly.
That goes to one of the quotes that I live by, and George knows this: without failure, success would never exist.
Exactly.
Right? So people look at failure and they say, okay, like how you're saying, they beat themselves up over it day in and day out, right? And they don't focus on what they can learn from that failure, so that way they can continue to have success.
Exactly.
That's the problem with a lot of people, man. Their mindset on failure is, I'm going to try this thing, right? And then once they fail, let's say I'm going to jump on a skateboard and I'm going to try to be a pro skater.
Yeah.
They fall and scrape their knee bad. And they're like, I'm done,
Yeah, no. But that was me. When I first got on a skateboard, I was like, this ain't for me, man.
This ain't it.
I can't do it.
But see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's people that, like, just for example purposes, that, they'll get on the skateboard, they'll try to, jump off the curb, or want to do a kick flip or jump off a few stairs, and they eat it. And then they're like, whoa, wake up call, this ain't me. Instead, what they should be saying is, what step that I didn't take? Maybe I didn't flip the board up right, or what I mean. Like, look at it as a learning thing. What could I have corrected in order to achieve the trick, right? Achieve it, And so that goes into play with anything in life. Football, finance, with numbers and all that stuff. If you're trying to solve a problem number-wise, right, and it's wrong, you can either go, well, I'm done with that math equation. And you can move on to the next one, or you can be like,
me. I could never have a wrong
or you can be like, wait a minute, why isn't this the correct answer?
Exactly.
What steps did I miss?
Yeah.
So yeah, the
And
mindset is key.
Exactly.
In everything.
And that's why I think sports are so important. Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But that's why I think sports is so important, because even with something like kicking, where I'm not a quarterback, I'm not a running back, or a D lineman, or whatever you want to call it. It's like I have my own thing that I have to work on. But at the end of the day, when I fail, or the bottom line is I miss a kick, right? And that there are so many different moving parts when you're kicking a field goal. There's a snap. There's a hold, there's weather conditions, there's the fans, the stadium, the grass, the turf, whatever. I've kicked when there's literal like ice patches on the turf field.
Oh, wow.
Where I'm out there, it's a TV timeout, and me and my holder out there, he's pounding it with his hands, and I'm trying to scrape the ice off so I can actually get an actual plant to kick the ball.
Yeah.
And it's like, there are just so many different things, and like that you can just put blame on. And I remember I would listen to different kickers and listen to different people, and they would do their interviews and all this different stuff. And it's like, there's always that in life. There's always something you can put blame on. But at the end of the day, when I kick a field goal, the bottom line was the ball was coming off of my foot.
Yep.
So there was no one else that I could put that blame on. I don't care if the laces were towards me or the ball's flat on the ground. I had an opportunity. As long as I had an opportunity to make the kick, there was no excuse. It was either you made it or you missed it. And if you look at life like that, where you're not putting blame on anyone else, but you're putting the blame on yourself, but you're learning from it. Because I had a lot of times where it was like...
responsibility. You're putting the responsibility on yourself.
Exactly. The responsibility. That's what I was trying to say. It's just one of those things where you can look at it so many different ways, but when you start looking at yourself and working on yourself, like you can't look at others and fix other people if you can't even work on yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's always been my biggest thing, because at the end of the day, like, no one wants to mess up. If it's a bad snap or a bad hold or whatever happens, it's I could put the blame on that person, but you know what happened every time there was a bad snap or a bad hold?
What's that?
They were running up, or we missed the kick, or we made it. Either way, they were running up, oh my God, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to do that. It's like, it's all right, man, we'll get the next one. You know what I mean? Don't let it happen again. I was very cutthroat, but I was very, like, honest. I was like, I missed the kick. You didn't miss the kick. But let's fix it. Let's not let it happen again.
Correct.
Yep.
And then
self-adjust it.
Exactly.
But that's really my biggest thing there. It's like, if you take that mentality and you put it into whatever you're doing, it's just so easy for people to, have a scapegoat, or have someone to put blame on, or have someone to use as a crutch, or whatever word you want to use. But
excuse.
Exactly.
It's so easy in today's world for people to come up with excuses. And the thing is what people have to realize is that, you can come up with excuses all day long, but it's not going to solve your problems. Whatever those problems may be. Or it's not going to help you to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life. The only thing that's going to help you to get there is yourself. It all starts here. You know what I mean?
And that's why it comes back to mental, man. That's why I think kicking was just so huge for, like, having mental progress and having mental challenges, just because going through football alone, every workout was a mental challenge. Everything was just difficult and hard, and it was getting over the mental hurdle first, and then everything else follows. So I focused on that, and I really, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be very mentally sound. I wanted to be very, like, I didn't want anything to impact my thoughts or anything to impact the way
that you perform.
Exactly. I wanted it to be in my head, and for me to have complete control over it. So I focused on that. Exactly. And the results show.
You, man. Yeah, exactly. The results show. You're able to excel, in my opinion, from, seeing you and just kind of following you, man. You grew at such a rapid pace, and it's only because of the hard work and dedication that you put into it, right? Mentally and physically. So,
and that's going back to when we first started talking about when I went out to that camp. That's what I realized. I realized that I'm nowhere near as good as these other kids in the country. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm up there, but I realized, like, I was better than a lot of the other kids. But as far as, like, I saw there's a
The whole
college
another-
level.
yeah.
I got to get to the college level. I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh, I'm good enough to play in college. But once I saw, Cody Parkey kicking a 90-yard kickoff, I was like,
Holy cow.
yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do that. I
Right.
want to get to that level. I want to be, and they go out and they don't miss.
Mm.
I don't think up to that point I had ever gone out and never missed.
Yeah.
And when I saw it in like person,
Yeah, you were like, when you were able to see that it was something that's achievable,
It's an
you
art
were
form,
able, you
yeah.
were able to go after it.
exactly. When I saw that it was actually tangible, something that was out there that was the whole nother level to like work towards, that's when I realized, what am I doing?
Right,
I was a
right.
kid. I was pretty immature, but I was also and cocky. When you're a kid and you're
Yeah, and
you're
you're
confident,
getting all this,
yeah.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
But no, like when you
Yeah.
have the limelight on you, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You have a lot of people coming after you left and right, and looking up to you and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
when you have the limelight, long story short, that could start creating
Oh,
this,
yeah.
a self.
See it all the time.
Yeah, you see it all the time, man.
Exactly.
But no, that's great. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and cut for the mid segment, and we're gonna take it from there. As far as the mid segment, we're just gonna pretty much talk about a really good discussion, man. So everyone that's listening and watching, stay tuned. Listen, buying and selling a house is a big step for a lot of people, but with the right person by your side, anything is possible. That's why picking a realtor you can trust matters. I decided to get into real estate to provide hope that with the right help, anything is possible. So if you or a loved one needs any help understanding how to buy or sell a house, contact me. I will be the realtor, 760-675-2275. Now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to the second segment, guys, the Millennial Motive. In this second segment, again, what we do is we go over just a topic and we kind of just discuss it amongst us. Go ahead and take it away, George.
All right. So the question is kind of a personal one, I guess, just because recently I just got over a massive slump with finishing a lot of work. And
Really?
Yeah, I think it was 14 projects in the last 3 weeks because I did a lot of stuff with Lou and Shauna Ferrigno up in Santa Monica, finishing a lot of client work, corporate, commercial, everything. But one of the things I started to realize for myself was there would be a day where I would get 5 or 6 projects done, and then there'd be another day where I'd get nothing done. And it's like, if only I could replicate the on days. I need to keep the on days going.
Yeah.
So
when you're on fire, yeah.
When you're on fire, exactly. So my question for you is, you don't need motivation to work on the on days, but how do you manage yourself on the off days? How do you manage, the slip from motivation into working, and how do you get yourself to work if you do at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, definitely in my job, there are, Orlando probably knows as well, there are those days that
where
are
you're just like,
you don't want to have them very often, but they
Yeah.
happen, and there's not a lot you can do about them. For me, it's days where, let's say I have a big day scheduled, and I have 4 meetings or whatever it is, and it's like different things are going on. All the meetings fall through. All the everything just kind of go, and your whole day that you planned out is now. What am I doing?
Yeah, what am I doing?
Yeah,
now?
exactly.
So I guess to answer your question, man, how, like for me even, how I would manage my off days, like even as a real estate agent, right? I would have like plan my days plan. That's where I'm coming from. Like, sorry to cut you off, but like
no.
I would have meetings set up, for listing appointments or showings for a client to help, show them a house that they could potentially buy, and then they literally 30 minutes before I'm gonna drive out to meet them.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, we forgot that a family thing came up, and I'm sitting there like, great.
It hurts.
Man, all right, this is tough, right? Because last week I was on fire. Like, I helped put a house under contract and and I just picked up 4 of the clients. Then this next week, I lost 3 clients, and then this client, 30 minutes before meeting them, they bailed on me.
Yeah.
So now I'm on, like how you're saying, you're on an off, right?
Yeah.
Versus the previous where business was flowing, things were on fire, right? And that's the same with football. Like, you have those days in practice where you're just on it, right?
Yeah.
And then you have those days in practice where you're like, gosh, this practice day sucks.
Yeah.
I'm doing crap.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me in business, that way I manage it is I actually look at those good days. And that's what fuels me to push past the bad.
I love that.
You said, I mean,
That's a good,
so I look at like, okay, last week was such a great week. You know, I was showing houses to 3 clients last week.
Yep.
That's nothing to bash an eye about. You know, that's nothing to just blow over just because today didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I allow my past accomplishments to fuel my current mood or current, you know, down days. That's how I do it.
For me, I think like we were saying, like when you do have bad days in this business too, it just feels very personal. It feels like they don't want to see you or they don't want to talk to you. Like it's easy to take it personally as well. But for me, the biggest thing is, you know, there's no way around it. You're gonna have an off day or something comes up. But it's always been who I surround myself with. And when I have those days, I have a group of friends that I can pick up and call, and I know that they're gonna tell me what I need to hear.
Yeah.
I'm not picking up the phone and calling people that are gonna tell me, "Oh, that sucks. Like, I'm so sorry that everything's not going your way." You know, it's like, no, I pick up the phone and I call somebody that's, you know, going through the same situation that I'm grinding, trying to get better, trying to get motivated. People that are working and want to, like, are striving to be great, striving to be CEOs, CFOs, all these different positions, building their own businesses, being entrepreneurs. Those are the people I pick up in my friend group that I call on my off days, and I know they're going to tell me what I need to hear. And they're going to tell me exactly what they do when they're in those situations.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times it's like, oh, man, I just had a day like that last week.
Yeah.
And then the next day.
It actually solidifies your relationship with them. Like, and then what I'm hearing is the key word that you're saying, John, is you know that when you call them, right, they're going to tell you what you need to hear.
Exactly.
Not what you want to hear.
I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear somebody feeling bad for me or somebody.
You're
that
doing
doesn't,
great.
Yeah. I'm not, sorry, Mom, I'm not calling you. you're going to be okay. Sweet. It's not something that, like, I want to feel better about.
Right.
No, like, the situation is, like, I'm going to have, like, it's not going to be the day I wanted to have. But I need somebody, I need a good support system to get me over those bad days. And that's the biggest thing for me. It's not where you can go to school and where you can play ball at and where you can, who are you working with? Yeah. Who are the coaches that are going to be working with you and spending time with you every day, pushing you, motivating you, getting you to where you want to be? Because when I look back at college football, I look at the coaches that were like that for me. And those were the ones that, when you have a bad day in football, you go and talk to them.
Yeah, so in other words, you manage your off days by surrounding yourself by a group of people that you know can pick you up and motivate you in the way that you want to.
Exactly.
And the way that you want it is you want them to be straight with you.
Oh, yeah.
Celine, in a previous episode, similar to the same thing, she said, what did she say? Like,
oh, yeah, her IGTV episode, you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So that breathes life, man. I agree with that 100% too. So
and
how do you, George?
George. We got to get to George.
How do you manage your off days?
I'm just taking it all in.
When it does happen, man.
When it does happen for me, because it happens a lot, because I like to, hang on, I'm managing the levels at the same time. It's weird because I'm hearing myself talk while I'm recording. But because it happens, because I can't say... It happens a lot because I like to overbook myself, and then I'll go through periods of inexcusable stress, and then a period of like 2 months where I'm just no. And for me, I like to. I'm still working on that process. Actually, I can't.
That's why you asked.
That's why I asked. It's like I'm still working on how to get to that level of how to manage the off days. But one of the tricks I've kind of found out is to have, I guess you could say, like, all the quick work. Like, if there's something quick that I can get done now so I can at least check off one thing, then it'll say, okay, I got the one thing done. Let me see if I can add 2 to that list. 3,
I
4,
see.
5, 6. So I have to like start something
Yeah.
so that I can feel a
Good
little bit of
about-
a sense of
Yeah,
accomplishment.
accomplishment. So
Yeah.
that way
Yeah.
it's going to push you to complete the larger task.
Yeah, and again, I'm still learning how to do it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that I don't know. There are a lot of things that I would like to know, but don't yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
again, that's why I
getting
asked
there,
it.
yeah.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from because like one of the things that people don't realize that us real estate agents have to do is we have to go find our own business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that means
Filmmakers too.
That mean
Yeah.
and that means
Yeah.
and that means 100%. And that means having to go out there and do what other people aren't willing to do, right? And
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
where I'm coming here, I'm gonna fast forward this is like one of the things that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to knock on a stranger's door.
No, yeah.
But
that's what I don't want to do.
but behind the scenes works is what people don't see.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah.
Like I had an off day where I had nothing to do, and I was dreading having to go out there and knock on someone's door and introduce myself to a complete stranger. Right? I was dreading it. Didn't want to do it. But you know what pushed me to do it? Is I took that in stride by saying, you know what? I'm just gonna knock on 4 doors. That's it. And then see if I feel accomplished by it. So I went, knocked on 4 doors, met 2 people. And I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. So you take things in steps, right?
Yes.
So like with your film stuff, like that's something that you can do and you're already doing. And I think that's how you are managing your off days is you realize, okay, nothing's working out on this end. Let me go ahead and just take baby steps on a different project.
Yeah.
So that way it's going to fuel me, help me feel good about the work that I'm doing. So that way I can actually accomplish the bigger one.
100%.
Right? And so that's what I did too in real estate. Like when I knocked on those doors, it helped me to get over that fear per se of, oh, like I don't want to go door knock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
When you're Orlando,
it's really not
everyone
that
just
bad.
loves you.
And
yeah, it's pretty.
You got that. You got that gleaming smile right now. Here, smile to the camera. Smile to the camera right now. See, there you go.
But no, and George, I think that's what you should continue to do, man.
Yeah.
You should continue to when you know that you got this big project, like the Lou Ferrigno project that you did was a big one.
Yeah.
Right?
First time I ever done anything like that at all. It's called The Reset Plan. You can check it out on YouTube right now. Sorry for the plug immediately, but
No, go ahead.
it's called The Reset Plan. Check it out. Shauna, Lou, and I, we shot this episode across about a week and a half. It was fantastic how we put it together, and I'm really excited for how it's turning out. But that was, at this point, the biggest project that I've had, and
That's amazing.
I had never cut reality TV before.
Congratulations, man. That's
So
awesome.
it's
But the
tough.
way that you were able to do it is you just took the baby steps, right?
Yeah.
So I think to
How do you
answer-
think it turned out?
It turned out great. It turned out great, man. I mean, all of you guys listening and all of you guys watching, you guys definitely gotta check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, your work is good, bro. So, like,
I haven't seen it yet. I didn't know about it until right now. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty.
We'll watch.
interested
You'll
in
watch
that.
it after the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Anyway, but no, man. I mean, John, it was a pleasure, my man.
No,
being
hold
the
on.
podcast
One more
for sure.
thing,
Oh, go
because
ahead,
I
go
wanted to
ahead.
build off of what you were kind of explaining to George right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just for me, my girlfriend and her family, they're good. Like her dad is a very successful, businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that he does is he has 4 or 5 things
Mm-hmm.
that he has every day that he gets done
Mm-hmm.
before I think it's 11 a.m.
Mhm.
or noon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my girlfriend's picked it up. I don't think I've seen her have, I mean, right now she's sick, but I don't think I've seen her have a bad day since she started setting up her days like that.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I mean, I
that's
haven't,
actually a good one.
now that I'm talking about it, it's just a super simple thing to do. Just write 4 things down that you want to get done, whatever it is. If you need to go to the store, if you need to do this,
right.
or if you need to study, or if you need
Right.
to, you know what I mean? Whatever
You
it
need
is
to
to
fold
do.
your clothes, do your laundry,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it may be.
Just do 4 things that you need to get done, and it can be in business or it can be in your personal life, whatever
Right,
it
right.
is. But you get those 4 things done, and by 11 a.m., noon, you feel like you accomplished something. So if nothing else
That's
happens
a good
throughout the
point,
day,
yeah.
I'm
you
gonna
did,
take that.
you did
Yeah,
something.
I'm gonna
yeah.
take that.
Yeah, but it's just definitely something that it's helped her, and I know it helps him a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one thing that I would say for you. But
No,
thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
For sure,
man.
bro. For sure.
I had a lot of fun.
That was a good way of leaving off the podcast, for sure, bro. So anybody that's listening and watching, you know, definitely take those things into consideration. Again, John, thank you for being on this episode of Millennial Motive.
Yes, sir.
Until next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Until next time.
Yep, that was awesome.